start, Chris. Week 5 of the college football season. A great slate of games. Let's go ahead and kick it off with one of the biggest games of the season in the
Mm-hmm.
SEC. Georgia hosting Alabama. The line right now is Georgia at 2.5. Over under,
Mm-hmm.
Chris, is at 53.5 right now. Big game. Big game for both teams. Both fan bases are definitely going to be happy if they can, seal the victory and get that big W after this game concludes. The loser, oh my gosh, I don't like. Where do you start? I don't even want to hear what people have to say about the loser in this ball game because both of these fan bases, Chris, you know that you know just like I know, they're rabid. They're rabid audiences. They love their teams, and when they don't get their way, when they don't win, there's a lot to be said. And
Yeah.
it's going to be interesting to see once this game is done who looked better in the end. I think that's what it's gonna come down to. It's not even going to come down to you wanna like you lost or you won. Probably it's really gonna look down. It's gonna look towards you know who looked better in the end, who looks like more of the playoff team, and who can potentially take control with their schedule in a large amount of time, of course, because this is week 5 is still going to be a long season ahead, and there's going to be a lot of big games on both of these teams' schedule left. But in order for someone to get the W in this game, it's going to take a lot, and whoever wins, they're definitely going to be satisfied, but they can't look ahead. But I want to get your thoughts, Chris. What are your thoughts about this game? What's been on your mind this week as we get closer to this matchup?
Yeah. It's a good matchup for sure. It's become a rivalry between these two programs, two teams that perennially at the top of the SEC. Of course, especially when you had Nick Saban, who's the head coach, and his dominance of the conference, Kirby Smart and his documented struggles against Alabama. Georgia has had a tough time beating Bama, no matter what kind of team Georgia has had. So this will be a big matchup in the sense of can Georgia finally get over that mental hurdle? Last year's game was a classic. Got behind a lot, had to make a huge comeback just to give it up at the end. I think this year's game, Georgia has looked to be the better team to start the season. Georgia showed moxie, resilience, a never say die, never quit attitude on the road at Tennessee in front of over 100,000 fans. Um, Found a way to win. The Kirby, just like a Kirby Smart team, literally finding a way to win. Because you could argue that team shouldn't have won that game, but they won. Then you look at Alabama. Alabama has not looked like Alabama, especially when they are on the road. And this game happens to be between the Hedges and Georgia. First time Ty Simpson will be in a hostile environment that in the SEC. We saw how things went in his first hostile environment game of his career on the road at Florida State and how Alabama got handled. I can't erase that out of my mind. I know Alabama's been solid the last couple of weeks, but I still have that image of how that team looked in an environment like that. It's going to be very similar between the Hedges. Georgia has the home winning streak. I think Georgia continues to win at home. I think Georgia gets over the mental hurdle, gets the win, and I think they win handedly, Kory. I think this is a decisive victory for this Georgia team. Uh, I know Bama has athletes. You can't overlook this roster, but this has been like a thing with Kalen DeBoer coach teams. especially in his Alabama tenure so far. When they are on the road, they just don't play the same like when they are at home in T Town. And I think that's going to rear its ugly head in this matchup. And I think Georgia, riding on the momentum of how they won against Tennessee and being able to win a shootout, a legit battle, a clash of the Titans kind of game, I think they are ready for this matchup. And I think Georgia takes care of business, dominates a lot of scrimmage because Alabama has looked soft. They don't look like the same physical Alabama team that you've come accustomed to over the years. If Georgia can assert their dominance at the line of scrimmage, this one really might get ugly. But I'm going to say Georgia does win 31-14. I think the Dogs get them by 17, Kory. And we will hear some angry Alabama fans if that is the case.
And look, the Kangaroo Blacks. Shout out to Kangaroo Black on YouTube and all. Like you gonna hear them all. They gonna it's gonna get ugly. Look, look, if any one of these fan bases, if any fans want to come and vent on the Breakdown Sportscast, it's okay. Yeah, we can talk it over. We can talk it over.
Yeah.
But no, Chris, I think you're absolutely right. This is a big game for both teams, of course. I'm interested in seeing what George is going to do. In Athens between the Hedges. They're gonna be, in front of their home crowd, of course. Can they take what they learned from the Tennessee game and keep up that momentum throughout this season? This is a big test. This is a hungry, some may say desperate, Alabama team after losing the first game of the season. How do you respond after an emotional game that you had to go through in Knoxville? Can you take care of business in this game? This is gonna be a lot in terms of seeing how Kirby and this Georgia Bulldogs squad responds. I'm very much interested in seeing how this goes, Chris. Interested in seeing how the defense plays from Georgia. They did not look great at times against Tennessee. That secondary was just getting blown out by the Tennessee receivers, of course. Is that going to be a recurring theme this season? Is that something we're going to see, or have they figured out some things throughout the bye week to get ready for this game against Alabama? So it's going to be interesting to see in that perspective how things go for Georgia this weekend. For Alabama's side, look, I think Alabama, Chris, after losing that Florida State game, they are desperate. They are definitely desperate. They are trying to make a statement. Ty Simpson right now, I will say this, Ty Simpson, he has done pretty much everything to show you that he deserves to be the Alabama Crimson Tide quarterback. He deserves to be QB1. The thing about it is can this offense, can this defense, keep their head in the game? Can they do what they need to do in order to stop Georgia if things start to roll in Georgia's favor? I'm interested to see what happens with that because we've been wondering, where's that fight in the old Crimson Tide? We know Nick Saban's not there anymore, but we want to see a lot of Alabama fans. They want to see that from Kalen DeBoer's Alabama squad, kind of in the vein of what they saw from Nick Saban. They want to see them in big games handle their business and take their eye out of football against teams like a Georgia, teams like an LSU, and so forth and so on. People want to see that. So far, I mean, we saw what they did with ULM. They took They took them to the woodshed, and yeah, I mean like Jeremy Bernard, heck of a receiver right now. What he's doing right now, he if there's anything about Jeremy Bernard right now, Chris, he is definitely the guy to watch in that receiving corp right now. So you
He's
know,
wide receiver one.
yeah, he's wide receiver one through and through, and he's
Respectfully to Ryan Williams, but he's been the one that's game in and game out
yeah
has
right
come to play.
yeah definitely agree, Chris. So yeah, you know they're gonna need him. They're gonna need his talent. They're gonna need Ryan Williams. You know, Ryan Williams has caught a lot of lot of scrutiny the last couple of weeks. Of course, you know he did come back strong against Wisconsin in a big way. They need that consistently from him as we move toward you know conference play this season, Chris. And hey, if you're an Alabama fan, you want to see more production from all of these players. Ryan Williams, the defense, you want to see it all. And this is a great opportunity, like I said, for them to showcase that this week. So for me, if I had to give it a score, Chris, I'm going to go ahead and say Georgia wins this game by a touchdown. I think we're looking at I think we're going to look at 42-35. Georgia wins this game.
Okay, we got another shootout in our hands.
Yeah, I think so. I think both of these teams, you know, they definitely have their strengths. They definitely have their weaknesses. I think the weaknesses for both of these teams will pretty much reminisce last year with the secondary.
Mm-hmm.
Just a little, you know, they're not tight enough back there. I think it's just a little loose. You know, it's not as tense back there. So I look for Georgia to pull out of this game, Chris, with the W. Won't be easy, of course, but it will show still a lot of poise and a lot of you know fight in this Georgia Bulldogs team this season as they try to get back into a playoff run.
Yeah, I'll be curious if it is a close game. How does Ty Simpson look in crunch time? We've seen what Gunnar Stockton is made of with the game on the line. Will this be Ty Simpson's chance to step up to the plate, rise to the occasion, and show what he's made of? So I'm curious to see if that ends up being the case. Will be a fun game though. That's for sure. When these two teams when they lock up, it's always an event. It's always crazy. So in the aftermath, imagine Kory if Bama does lose, and we have 4 games into the season, and this team's record is 500, 2-2. Can you imagine the words that will be spoken out of people's mouths in T-Town? What the talk radio will be like?
I can imagine. Just tune in to Paul Feinbaum at 2 p.m. Central on the SEC Network. You'll find it all there, folks.
It's gonna get ignorant. It's gonna get crazy, and boy, yeah, it's a must-win for Bama.
It is.
Georgia needs it too, but it truly is a must-win for Bama.
Yeah. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Chris. Very interesting ball game. Can't wait to watch this one. We're going to learn a lot about these two teams, more than we already know. And yeah, I think by the time this game is done, yeah, it's we will know. The proof will be in the pudding, as the good old saying goes.
If Bama loses this, boy. It's going to be a long season for Tide fans. I'm going to say that right now, Kory, because it don't get any easier.
It doesn't. It doesn't. I mean, look, we've beaten this horse down.
We're going to keep beating it.
talked about this extensively, Chris. After this Georgia game, win or lose, it don't get any easier. Vanderbilt, Missouri, Tennessee, at South
Those are three
Carolina.
of them. Those first three that you just named, to play them consecutively. Those three are playing some really good ball in the SEC as well. We'll see how Tennessee does against Mississippi State, their first road battle of the SEC season. But Tennessee, Missouri, and Vandy, boy, that's a little bit of low key of a murderer's row right now. The way Vandy and Missouri playing.
Yeah. Like I wouldn't be scoffing at the schedule like this, after this game. I'd be on high alert. If I'm
Vandy,
Alabama.
hey, we'll release our updated top 25. Let me tell you right now, Kory, Vandy's in the top 12. That's the playoff team that they low key playing. Vandy is legit, so
Yeah.
they better win this one because, like we said, it's rough out here, boy. You got some games coming up.
Exactly. Yeah. You much rather want to be 3-1 than 2-2 after the fact if you're Alabama. So just saying. But it should be a great game, Chris. 6:30 kickoff on ABC. Can't wait.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. So yeah, Chris. Anything else you want to add to this game before we move on to our next game?
I'm good.
All right.